Yeah.
All right.
Well, this is not Nickelodeon.
Well, no, no, Rugrats.
Rugrats?
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
All right.
No, this is not Rugrats. Hi, guys. This is No Shoes Reviews, our first episode ever. Basically, since this is our first show, I just want to give you a little heads up about what we're about. We're a couple of dudes. We like watching movies. We see a lot of movies throughout the year. We thought, hey, we should sit down, do some reviews, let you know how they are, and whether you should see them or not. So, hey, let's get it started. This is first episode, first movie, a great movie, The Avengers!
Oh, yeah. It was absolutely phenomenal, and is everything it's lived up to be. It breaking records left and right, anywhere overseas to just the United States.
How much did they make on opening weekend?
Opening weekend, $207.4 million.
Knocking down that wizard boy.
Harry Potter, yeah. But yeah, as far as the movie goes, it was fantastic. I've seen it twice already, and him and I saw it at midnight Thursday night. A couple of friends, and we got there 11 o'clock, an hour before it started, and
it was already packed. Like, dude, the theater that we were assigned to was already full. We were like, no, we're sneaking into another theater, and that was much better.
We got in that one. That one was still halfway full too, and we had to save a couple seats. It was filling up very fast. Mm-hmm. And the second time I saw it on a Sunday night at 8:30, a friend and I went to go see it, and got there at 8:30 on a Sunday. Ended up having to sit in the very front row, which we all know blows.
Yeah, do not sit in the front row, people. It sucks.
It just shows how popular this movie is. It's like I said, it's everything it's lived up to be. We've been looking forward to it since the very first Iron Man in 2008.
Right.
And after the credits, and from there on, it started it off amazing.
Basically, Marvel put this idea together where it created these different superhero movies and brought them all together into one movie. If you don't know, much about Marvel or superheroes, last year they came out with Captain America and Thor, and two superheroes in the Marvel world that are actually very big and have never had a movie before. And for the most part, I think they did a pretty good job of making those out. My favorite was Captain America out of those two. Nobody tops Iron Man though, and the Hulk. They've had a couple of speed bumps with it, but I think they're doing a good job. And that's one thing I wanted to actually talk about the Avengers. The Avengers gave me a whole new respect for the Hulk. Oh my gosh, dude! Yeah. Like Iron Man is my favorite by far, and the Hulk has never been my favorite, but he smashed.
He got points. Yeah, he smashed absolutely. I will say, I think we were all a little on edge about Mark Ruffalo becoming the Hulk in the Avengers, because I personally, and I watched it, I saw it in theaters and I watched it a few days before the Avengers came out, was Edward Norton's version of Incredible Hulk, and I loved it. There are a few things that weren't perfect, but I got a little bit more respect for the Hulk in that one, and then even more when I saw the Avengers.
Right, Mark Ruffalo's character was a little bit more sciencey, and he was smart. He was cool in that respect. Ed Norton's, I think. Now, I will say I think Mark Ruffalo's Eric Banner. Bruce Banner. Eric Banner is the guy who played him in the very first one before Ed Norton was that one. We don't even count that movie. Bruce Banner. I think Bruce Banner's version in the Avengers is more like Bruce Banner in my opinion. Edward Norton, even though he might have done a better job, that was a love story on the run. Bruce Banner is a scientist, and I mean Dr. Banner. True. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the movie as a whole. There were several action sequences. Obviously, there were different superheroes that had to be pitted up against one another. They had to learn to get along with one another in order to work together. Did you think that they did a good job of showing those relationships and having enough action in this movie?
Absolutely. I thought it was great. There's action throughout. I feel like the beginning, other than the opening scene with Loki and Nick Fury, was a little slow, but it still had those catchy one-liners that made up for it, made you laugh. And then and when they fought each other, you see Thor and Hulk fight, you see Thor and Iron Man fight, and those
Great scenes.
Great scenes, and they take up until the very final battle, which there are no words to describe how epic
Absolutely.
it is.
The movies are usually set up into 3 acts. The first act was, getting to know everybody. The second act was, oh my god, we got this threat, what are we going to do about it now? And the third act was just all out action. It was amazing. There was action in the other sequences as well, but the last 30 minutes of the movie is just amazing.
And that's literally how long the last fight scene is. It's probably 35 minutes.
Some people might think that's a bad thing, but no, it's not a bad thing.
They do it right. They really do.
Absolutely.
And I'll say, like he said, gaining a lot more respect for the Hulk. There's another character I gained a lot more respect for, and I've told him this, and I liked this character way more than I liked in his previous film, and that's Loki. The guy, Tom Hiddleston, he did an okay job. He did a decent job in Thor, but as everyone out there probably agrees, Thor is probably the worst one of all the Marvel movies up to date. And when I say worst, it wasn't bad. It wasn't as good as the Iron Man or Captain America or Hulk, any of that. But Loki in this movie, man, he frightened me. He did.
Yeah, exactly.
He frightened me.
He was actually evil in this one.
And he did a great job, and he earned mad points for me.
Definitely.
And of course, we have to talk about Robert Downey Jr.
He's always so amazing. He lives that role. Nobody else is Tony Stark.
It's for me. Everyone that knows me knows Robert Downey Jr. is one of my all-time favorite actors, and he fits the role of Iron Man and Tony Stark so well because that's his real-life personality, and I admire that so much about him. I don't know why, because he's such a dick, but it's hilarious, and he's just there's little one-liners he has all through the first 2 Iron Man movies, and plenty of them in Avengers that'll definitely put a smile on your face. Talk about Chris Hemsworth as Thor, and
he did a great job.
He did.
He really did. If there was anybody I would pick a fight with with Hulk, it had to be Thor. The dude is God, and
literally,
there's this no spoilers or anything, but there's a scene where him and Hulk fight in the movie, and Hulk actually gets knocked back. He's like, "Oh man, I've never dealt with a force like this." And
what is this? They got slow mo and everything. It's epic.
It's funny.
And I think Chris Hemsworth
he looks like Thor, man. He plays the part. Absolutely.
I would not pick anybody else. Appearance-wise, to be Thor, he did a great job, and along with Loki, I think he was better in this movie than his own movie.
Yeah,
Thor, so
definitely. It almost makes me want to go back and watch Thor again.
Yeah, and I will. This movie I strongly recommend going.
Absolutely, go see it. Go see it twice. Take your mom, take your sister, take your girlfriend.
do whatever. And it's what I've told people. You don't have to even appreciate superhero movies to like.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if you don't see superhero movies, it's a great movie just to go out on a date or whatever. It's fun. It's funny. It's a great movie.
Yeah. It's about 2.5 hours long. And
Yeah.
I will say there are 2 scenes, after the credits. There's one about halfway through that.
Right.
No spoilers, so I won't say anything that reveals the next bad guy for the next Avengers movie.
Right.
And then there's kind of a funny
little clip there at the
clip
end.
at the very, very end.
Basically, we at the end of each show, we're going to try and give, a rating. We're going to recommend whether you see this movie or not. And for me, I think we kind of agree. As much as I want to give this movie 5 out of 5, it's as close to being 5 out of 5 as I'm going to give it. I would probably have to give it a 4.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree and give it a 4.5 as well. To be a 5-star rating, I think the movie has to be absolutely flawless and perfect.
Absolutely.
And to argue, there's not really. There are a couple out there, but it's hard to come out of those movies these days.
Right.
So 4.5 for me.
However, I will say this: it could possibly be the best movie of the year.
The only contenders, you have Dark Knight Rises and The Amazing Spider-Man in July, and Twilight, which is Twilight's not going to come anywhere near it. Sorry, guys, but for all you fans. And then the only other one is The Hobbit in December, but we'll see.
Definitely recommend go seeing it.
And definitely recommend going and buying it when it comes out.
Absolutely, on DVD, go see it, go buy it. We're going to keep an eye out on the box office. You know, he thinks it's going to be #1 of the year. I think it's going to be Dark Knight Rises.
We'll see. We'll see.
But it's definitely breaking records, and Dark Knight has a lot of work to do if it just has any chance of coming close to it. So, we'll see you guys in future reviews.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching. Welcome to No Shoes Reviews. My name is G. This is Steven. Welcome to the very first ever.
I just wanted to do a blooper. Okay.
Welcome to
Why do you look at me like that?
Because it's funny.